Hey, what up, folks? How's it going? This is Avit here, and welcome to DevOps Challenge Hub. So let's start with today's interview question. Let me share my screen. So today's interview question is, what strategies do you use for RDS cost optimization? What strategies do you use for RDS cost optimization? So we can say like that in our environment, RDS cost was getting high, and then I started checking how each database was getting used. So my main approach was to match DB type with the workload. So if workload is less, there's no point using high-end machines, high-end instances like which has a lot of CPU memory power. Right? So utilization should be balanced. And if utilization is only 5%, then we are not using it in an optimal way. So this is what we call right sizing. We call it a right sizing. So I monitor cloud watch metrics like CPU utilization, memory, and connection. And if the database is using very low CPU or memory, then I downgrade it to smaller instance. And when I downgrade to smaller instance, I uh, save some money, right? And if it is a heavily used, I keep it at the right size or move it to the reserve instance. If I see that there is a constant load, and throughout the year this kind of constant load is there, so that for that I can decide that, like let's say 60% load is always there, and sometimes it's a 65%, sometimes 70%, sometimes 80%. For the spike, I can move it to some uh, on-demand instance, but for the constant load, I can go for reserve instance. So reserve instance is cheaper. They can save 60 to 70% compared to on-demand. And for testing purpose, testing or development purpose, I use bustable instance like DB T3 and schedule them to automatically stop at night and on weekends. And that alone can save 50% of the cost. So I won't be using on demand, I will be using bustable instance. And for workload, which changes a lot, like sometimes 20%, sometimes 80%, sometimes 10%, it's changing a lot, then I will go for Aurora serverless, which automatically scales up and down and charges only for what is used. So I also look at the storage cost. Many teams over provision the storage. So I switch them to GP3 volumes, which are cheaper and allow adjustable IAPS. And I also deleted manual snapshots and move old data to S3 or Athena instead of keeping it in RDS. So maybe in the past there were a lot of snapshots or backups they were taken. And all these old backups uh, are not required. So few backups are required, but not all. So those old backups, I clean it up. And so instead of capturing RDS space, we are storing it in the S3. That will save some cost. So for heavy workload, read heavy workload, if it is a read heavy workload, I use read replica or add elastic cache to reduce load on the main database. This helps us avoid scaling to a bigger, more expensive instance. And finally, I set up CloudWatch dashboard and use Trusted Advisor to identify underutilized database and cost anomalies each month. To identify the underutilized database and cost anomalies, I set up CloudWatch dashboard and Trusted Advisor. So in one case, RDS was running 24/7 on a large instance, even though it was only used in office hours. So I set up a simple Lambda function to stop it at a night and right size it to the smaller instance. The single change saved 50% in monthly RDS cost. So in short, what I did, right size it for the whatever based on the workload, I decide the size of the machine, size of the CPU memory power. Use reserve instance for steady workload where there is no up and down. For steady workload, reserve instance is cheaper than the on demand. Then went for serverless where there are a lot of variabilities there, and automated start stop for non-production. So for testing purpose, you'll be using only during office hours. So no need to keep it running. And use caching and replicas and keep an eye on metrics to CloudWatch and Trusted Advisor. So this is the approach I took to optimize the cost. So now let's go to the quiz section. You can pause the video and try to answer. Which RDS pricing is based for steady, predictable production workload that runs 24/7? Production workload, predictable, steady workload, it's the reserve instance. Reserve instance provides almost 60-70% savings for long-term predictable workload by committing 1 to 3 years. What is the most cost-efficient instance type for development or testing environment that don't run 24/7? The bustable instance, T3 micro or T4D. Bustable instance like T3 or T4D is low cost and idle for non-continuous or light workload. For spiky or unpredictable workload, which RDS option gives automatic scaling and pay per second billing. Pay per second billing and automatic scaling, which RDS option gives. Aurora serverless version 2. Mainly for spiky or unpredictable workload. So Aurora version serverless scales compute automatically and charges only for actual usage, ideal for busty or unpredictable traffic. Which of the following strategies directly reduce storage cost for RDS? To move cold or archival data to S3 and query by Athena. So all cold data, archival data to S3, which are no longer used frequently. All the old data moved to S3. So offloading old data from RDS. RDS is expensive compared to S3, obviously. So move that old snapshot data from RDS to S3 plus Athena, and it reduces expensive RDS storage cost. What should you do if CloudWatch shows CPU less than 20% and memory barely used for use? You have to do right sizing to a smaller instance. Persistent unutilization indicates over provisioning. Downsizing saves cost without hurting performance. So it means that we have oversaved, we have provisioned more than what it is required. So we have to right size to proper whatever workload requires. How can you automatically reduce RDS cost for non-production environment? You can schedule stop start using Lambda or Event Bridge during off-peak hours. So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow LinkedIn page DevOps Challenge Live. I post quiz contest daily, and you can participate in that. And join my community, WhatsApp community, where I post daily job updates, interview tips, career tips. You will find a link down below this video. Thank you for watching this video. See you again in the next video.